This video I'm going to show you how to do high-end retouching using frequency separation in Adobe Photoshop. Frequency separation is a method of retouching portraits while dealing with the colors alone and the textures alone. And in this method we are going to use the airbrushing method. We shall move our image. This is the before and this is the after. We shall work on our image from this step up to this is the final stage, and I'll show you through from the coloring to the retouching to the skin refining and all the color lookups and the cropping and the exporting. So without further ado, let's dive into this. Yes, this is my image. I use Capture One as a raw processing software for my raw images. So we are going to first deal with the lights, the highlights, and you kill them a little bit. You open up the shadows a little bit and you pull down the blacks in order to have a little bit of contrast. The next thing is you're going to work on the levels here, just like you can see. Levels of Capture One have more control compared to the ones of Camera Raw filter, just like that. And if you're going to work with the Luma range, I love working with the Luma range because when you're working with the Luma range, it only adjusts the light, it doesn't deal with the color. Let me show you a difference of working with the curves using the Luma. When I reduce, you will see that my color won't be touched, it is only the light that is adjusting. But when I use this RGB and I reduce, you will see that even the color is affected, just like you see there. So I prefer using the Luma range to work on my curves, just like you see there. It's because it doesn't affect the colors of the skin tones. So now the next thing we are going to do is remove a little bit of this, the little noise that we have. Excuse me. We come to this, the details panel here, and the details option, and we reduce the noise. We increase the luminance. We increase the luminance a little bit. I think 80 is fine for that. We can also sharpen our image up a little bit to 200. And now we go to the color. We go to the color option, to the color panel. And now what you're going to do, you're going to deal with the skin tones. Another advantage of Capture One is that you can work on the skin tones alone. So when you come to this skin tones option, you come to this color picker and select the skin tone. You can bring it down a little bit so that you're specific to the skin tone you're working with. You can saturate it up a little bit and increase a little bit of lightness. I want to have a popping kind of effect on my skin tones, and we can add a little bit of the uniformity of so that our saturation is uniform on the whole skin. 50 is good, and so is the lightness. We can put it at 50. 50 is okay. Yes, let me show you a little bit of the before. That is the before, and this is the after. So now, after fixing the lights and the colors in Capture One, we're going to send our image to Photoshop. Yes, when we send our image in order to send our image to Photoshop, we right click on that, on the image, and we say edit with Adobe Photoshop 2020. Yes, just like you can see, I click on edit variant, and this will export and be imported into Photoshop. Our image is in Photoshop, we are going to start retouching. I already have my frequency separation methods, but I'll show you. I already showed you in previous videos how I created my actions. I'll leave the link up for you guys to know how you create the frequency separation action here. I also have videos about frequency separation in the previous videos. I'll leave the links in the description for you guys to know in depth of why we select 5, why we do what we do. So I think 5 is okay here. Yes, because I don't want to have a lot of text. I want to have something smoother, not so smooth and not so sharp. So I want to have it a little bit in the middle there. So you click on OK. After clicking on OK, I'll have my low frequency and high frequency. But let me show you briefly how we create those layers. You duplicate this background layer. We name it low frequency. Just like that. And after duplicating it, you come to filter, blur, and you go to Gaussian blur. This dialog box will pop up. When it pops up, you move this slider to a point where your skin texture disappears. I want us to look closely to this, to our skin texture. When I have my radius at 0.1, you will see that I won't have anything on the skin. But as I keep going up, I will have my skin starting to blur, and this is what I want. So I want to blur out all the texture in the skin. I think this is okay. 6.4 is okay. When you press OK, then I'll come back to my background layer and I duplicate it again. You can press Ctrl J for that. Now this is a high frequency layer. You press OK and we move that to the top. You can press Ctrl and square bracket to move it to the top, or to move your layer, just like you see. Yes, after doing that, what we are going to do now is we are going to separate our texture of the low frequency layer. So we come to image, we click on apply image, and we select the low frequency since we want to subtract texture of that layer. We come to the blending mode and click on subtract. Scale is supposed to be 2 and offset is supposed to be 128. We press OK. When you press OK, this is the kind of effect that you will have. If you don't have this kind of effect on your photo, then it means you did something wrong. You have to go back and follow this video again. So what you do, you come to the layer and click on the layer blending modes here. We select linear light for that, and you'll find that now this is what we have. We have our original image. When I unsee these two layers, you'll see that it is the same as when I see both of them. Let me try to group them so that you can see. When I unsee the group, you won't see anything. You won't see any change. That means what I have in this group is the same as the background. That means I've split these two into two. I've split the color or the skin tones from the texture, just like you can see there. This is my texture and this is my color. When I combine them, I'll have my image. So that is it. So now you can also duplicate this and put a clipping mask in order to have your layers safe, your frequency separation layers safe. So what you do now, we are going to work on this copy of the low frequency layer. As you are working, I'm going to use the Lasso Tool method because it is easier for me. Come to Lasso Tool and we start drawing circles, just like you can see here. Yes, after drawing your circle, your Lasso Tool settings are supposed to be just like you can see. Only this feather radius is what you look at. We keep it around 17 to 18 in order to have soft edges, curved edges, not to have sharp edges. So you come to filter, blur, and you go to Gaussian blur. So now this time around we're going to move this radius up to a point where we've blended all the colors, the skin tones. When I remove it, you will see that my skin tones are not blending, and when I keep pushing the slider, you see that my skin tones are starting to blend. I think this is okay. We press OK. You can also add more blur if you find that it is not fine. Yes, press OK at that. Then we go to this area of the nose, just like that. I think I showed you most of what you're supposed to do in my previous videos. I'll leave the link for you for frequency separation using Lasso Tool in the description, so that you can learn into detail. You can get that in-depth knowledge about this tool, this method. I'll just be doing the selections and blending, just like you see here. It will take a lot of time, so I'll ask you to be a little bit patient with me. Just like you can see, don't miss out on the neck areas, the arms. You have to draw this according to the shape of your body. Yes, I didn't introduce my model. The model I'm working with today is called Ali Gizuba. I'll leave the links to her social media accounts in the description, and I'll also leave for you this raw file in the description, so that you can use it for practice. Yes, you also do the arms as well. When I'm working on the arms, I combine both the mixer brush method with the Lasso Tool method, because the mixer brush helps me to blend very well these areas where I can't draw the Lasso Tool very well. The small areas, even under the nose, the mixer brush helps me. Below the eyebrows, I can use the mixer brush for that. Yes, and the small parts, just like you can see there. I think we've blended it very well. Let me fix this here on the forehead. Yes, just like that. Yes, I think we are done with the frequency with the blending of the skin colors. Blending of the skin colors, and now we are going to be working on the texture alone. Yes, in order to work on the texture, you come to the high frequency. You're going to work on the copy, to work on using the copy layer. And now what we are going to use is the clone stamp tool, and keep our opacity at 100, flow 100, our sample is supposed to be at current layer. Make sure you select a soft round brush in order not to leave patches. Yes, just like I told you in that tutorial, you alt click in order to try and clean these blemishes. When you're working, you make sure you leave these natural birthmarks, unless that it is just a temporary kind of blemish. For example, if you're working, you leave the you only remove the pimples and the spots. But this kind of scars and permanent blemishes, you don't remove them unless the client asks you to do so. Yes. Just like you can see, I think we are done working on the texture. If you haven't subscribed to this video, please and please, I'm on my knees, subscribe. Because I'll have a lot of work in stock, a lot of topics to teach about. Make sure you don't miss out anything, because it is all important. You're going to be going step by step. Yes, I think I'm done working on my texture. Let me also remove this because it looks funny. According to my client, she says she doesn't want it, so I'll remove it. This method also helps you to remove the stress marks which are brought about by the eyelids, but you don't remove all of them, just remove a few. Yes, just like you can see there. Let me show you a little bit of the before and the after. This is the before, this is the after. Before and after. Yes, I think we are done with the retouching part. Now what we are going to do is we are going to work on the eyes. We are going to shape up the face a little bit using Liquify, and we are going to add some 3D LUTs using color lookup tables. So now, after doing that, I'll add my eyes and teeth whitening action. I already made that. I use photo filter, black and white, and curves adjustment layers. I have a tutorial about how to whiten and sharpen eyes. Please check it out. I'll also leave the link to that in the description. Also have a topic about how to create actions. So when you learn about how to create actions, you can easily create your eyes and teeth whitening actions. So after doing that, reduce the opacity so that it is not so cartoonish, so plastic. After doing that, what we are going to do is we are going to add a 3D LUT, the color lookup table. So I go to my adjustment layers and I add the color lookup adjustment layer. Then I come to load 3D LUT and I click on that. When you click on it, you will have to browse for where your LUTs are if you save them somewhere. So now I'm waiting for mine to load. Yes, I think we are here. We are already here. So I think I prefer this chocolate LUT because it gives me that kind of feel. Yes, just like you can see, this is the before. It is a little bit heavy, and that is the after. This is the before and that is the after. You can also reduce the opacity a little bit in order not to have a lot of it on the skin tones. After doing that, I'll add a little bit of rich tones. I'll add a little bit of the rich tones. I'll use gradient map. I come to gradient map here. Foreground to background. I'll put my foreground at white and my background at black, just like that. And I'll come to multiply here. I'll reverse it. Yes. This helps me to have to add a little bit of rich tones, make my tones richer. All I want to have them glow too much. Then I reduce the opacity. I think 15 is okay. Just like that. Can put this under these two layers because I want my eyes to still be white. I move this down below the eyes and teeth because I want my eyes to stay white. Even the color look up, I'll put it below the eyes and teeth. Yes, just like that. Then the next thing is we're going to do liquify to shape up the face and the eyes and the nose a little bit. So I'll press Shift Ctrl Alt E in order to merge my layers. And I come to filter here, I go to liquify, or I press Shift Ctrl X on my keyboard. Yes, after having that, I have only one face here, so I come to face aware liquify. I reduce the nose width not so much. Then I work on the jawline in order to remove the cheeks a little bit. And also work on the lips if you want to increase on their size a little bit. Yes, just like that. Even the eyes, you can, if you want to increase on the eye size, just like you can see there, then you press OK. Yes, I'll show you a little bit of the before and the after. That is the before and the after. Then I'll crop it for Instagram. Come to crop, I'll use ratio 4:5. Yes, just like that. I think we are done. Only thing we are left with is to add a little bit of contrast. Come here and add a levels adjustment layer. You bring up the highlights. You open up the highlights a little bit and bring up the shadows. I think that's it. Reduce the opacity a little bit. Yes, this is our image. Let me show you a little bit of the before. This is our before and this is the after. So what you do is we save. When you save, remember we worked with Capture One as our raw processing software. Remember I worked with Capture One as our raw processing software. So after saving, you go to Capture One, you'll see that Capture One has created a PSD copy of the original file. That is the before of our image, and this is the after. This is before, this is after. So that is how easily you can work with frequency separation to retouch your beauty images. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Robert SK for Drimax School of Photography. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and don't forget to leave your comments, reviews and suggestions in the comment section below. See you next time.